Hey guys, Coach Brian here from Without Limits Coaching. I am going to make a short video to recap Ironman Chattanooga. Um, let's see. Let's start with this would have been my seventh iron distance race, my sixth actual Ironman race. I did Beach to Battleship in 2009 and did Louisville twice, Ironman Coeur d'Alene, Ironman Florida, Ironman Boulder, and then now Ironman Chattanooga. So back to the race at hand. This was a PR race for me by 7 minutes. The course is actually 144.6 miles. The bike is 4 miles longer due to, you hear the rumors that there's some church that won't let them run the course right in front of their church on Sundays, and so they had to reroute the course. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. The course is what it is. So I got into town on Wednesday night and just had the time off from work and decided I want to go ahead and get out of town. Was able to relax for a little while and enjoyed Chattanooga. It was a cool town. Thursday went down early, picked up packet, and was going to get out on the bike and just didn't happen. I think it was the weather. No, actually I decided I wanted to take Thursday off and get the packet and relax in the hotel. Friday went up to the dam on the other side of the dam from where we actually swim, and got in the water just to feel what the water felt like. The water felt crisp, clean. It was nice. The water was nice. So that was Thursday or Friday, and that was all I did Friday. Friday afternoon, it started raining. I was going to try to get out on the bike, make sure everything was working, and it pretty much poured all day Friday, and then Saturday as well. So Friday afternoon, I ended up going to the YMCA, local YMCA, and hopped on the spin bike and just did a little shakeout spin. Saturday was hoping to get on the bike before I turned it in and just make sure everything was working, and it was raining, and I did not want to take the bike out and run the risk of laying it down or just getting it all gunked up with road grime. So I went back to the YMCA, did a 20-minute spin with some spin ups, just turned my legs over, and then I hopped on the treadmill and did about a 10-minute run at about I think the last 7 miles or last 7 minutes I got up to about race pace, race effort I wanted to, and just to see how my legs felt. And then I ended with some hard efforts, just some stride type work, for 30 seconds at a time, just to get everything fired up, and then I shut it down. Went and turned in the bike Saturday afternoon, and my bike bag and my run bag, and that's the process that if anybody's not ever done an Ironman race or an iron distance race, the bags is just this kind of overwhelming process. And I think the first one I did, my bags were loaded down with all kinds of stuff and snacks and everything. And I think the more you do these, the more you kind of figure out what you actually need, what you don't need. Little tricks of the trade, like marking your bag, making sure it's bright, making sure you walk through the transition where they have all the bags and that you get an idea of exactly where your bag is, whether it's 3 rows down to the left, 2 rows over, those type of things. So I mark my bags with bright pink duct tape. And then I pin them up and mark them so bright that you can almost not even tell that it was a blue bag or a orange bag. It's just pink. And it is super easy to see when I come running through there, all discombobulated from the swim or the bike. So you turn all that stuff in on Saturday. At this point, had found a couple restaurants throughout I had about 7 to 8 friends from Wilmington, North Carolina, where I'm from, and kind of had met up with them for different spins, and a couple of us went to the swim, so it was kind of cool having some people there, and just some familiar faces. So anyway, let's get to the race. Woke up at 4. Did not sleep very well at all the day before the race, and that was the first time. It'd been a long time since I had that type of race anxiety, and I don't really know why. I guess it's just an Ironman. It is what it is. So I'm not really sure why I was like that, but I woke up in a panic, I think around 2 o'clock, and I don't even know what I was worried about. But anyway, so I finally fell back asleep around 2:30 and slept really hard till 4 when my alarm went off. Got up at 4, did my normal 2 cups of coffee to kind of just even get motivated. Tried to get a breakfast down. I had a peanut butter and banana sandwich, and then I walked down and got another cup of coffee in the hotel lobby because they were kind of moving around by then, and had a small bowl of oatmeal. But I was having trouble getting anything down, but I knew I needed some calories. So at this point, walked down to the transition. We were so close to our hotel was so close to the transition that was able to take my bike pump out of the car, walk down there, and pump my tires up. Put my bottles, all my nutrition bottles, all my last-minute nutritions, make sure my gears were turning over, make sure I didn't flat, and pump my tires up, go through the gears one time, and it poured down rain that night, make sure just that my brakes weren't sticking and everything was good to go, which was a huge benefit to get down there and do that and then be able to go back to my hotel room. So that's what I did. I went back to the hotel room, made sure last minute that I had and I also found out at that point early that morning that it was not going to be a wetsuit legal race, that the water temperature was 77, which made it what they like to now call a wetsuit optional race, which means you can wear one, but you're not qualifying for Kona and you're not going to get an age group award, and you have to start last. So, in my opinion on that is, it's not wetsuit legal. You don't wear a wetsuit. Whatever. It's not. If you're wearing one, it's your race. You do what you want to do. It's not my thing. If the water temperature isn't wetsuit legal, don't wear a wetsuit. It's just my opinion. So I found out at that point it wasn't. So you get your timing chip on. You get your you try to get a little bit more coffee in you if you're a coffee drinker like I drink a lot of coffee, and I had and then I had started getting some fluids in me, some water, actually had a Gatorade, and started thinking about getting everything, my special needs bags, making sure, double checking last minute that I have everything I wanted for my bike special needs, that I was going to hit at mile 60, that I have everything on my run that I was going to hit around mile 13 and a half. Everything was good to go. Cool. Tie them up, check them off. Don't keep going through them. Headed down to meet my friends around 6, which was kind of cool. It gave me about an hour just to chill, and I want to say chill and relax, but I think it was chill and get even more nervous. No matter how long you've been doing this is my 7th season racing the long distance iron stuff, and I still get nervous. I think it's a healthy nervousness. So at that point, we hopped on the trolleys, which was a short ride. It was cool. We all got to kind of sit together. This start was not what I had thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be kind of line up like Boulder was. You line up kind of based on your swim speed, and I usually get up to where I'm somewhere around an hour swimmer, so I usually get somewhere between the 55 and hour group. And it wasn't like that. It was actually like Louisville, where it was just a tremendously long line. You got in it when you got there. First come, first get in line. But which was also cool again, because you got to line up with all my buddies and my friends and my training partners and all that, and wait in line. It's about an hour wait, and then the line started kind of shifting, and all the spectators started getting out of line and started moving. Is that second you start realizing, like, this is real, this is getting ready to happen. Your nerves start just kind of, for me it's weird, my nerves start to kind of die down. It's it's like, okay, here it is. It's time to do this. The training's done. Everything's good. For some reason, once we start moving and the line starts shifting, and the reality that I'm going to be racing in about 15 minutes, I just kind of calmed down a little bit. So that was cool. The line starts moving. You're slowly taking off all your morning clothes. You're making sure your gear's good. You're putting on your last minute lube and tri-slide, and making sure your goggles are good. You've got your swim cap. You're just kind of getting all that as the line's moving slowly forward. The pros go off about 10 minutes before all the age group athletes, and so you heard the cannon go off at, I think, 7:20 for them, and that really means it's go time. I think we were in the water in about 12 minutes. Um, so once you get down there, it's this long line, and it kind of shovels you down into this dock. You walk out on this dock, and you just get in, and it's just tons and tons and tons of athletes going into the water. I want to say there's 2,800 athletes, 2,900 athletes that race this race. So you got to imagine all of them going into the water within like a 17-minute period. So the swim was great. As soon as you hit the water, you start swimming. It felt good. And I was able to sight. My goggles didn't fog. I felt good in the water. I didn't feel like I was giving too much effort. It was a good long distance effort. Was trying to kind of stay near the buoys. Something I didn't realize they were doing this year at the halfway point in the Ironman races. The buoys go from being orange or yellow to orange. So anyway, I'm going to get through the swim. We went through the swim. It was a good swim. I didn't have any problems. Didn't run into anybody. Nothing to talk about. I came out of the water in 52 minutes, which, yes, it's a river, so the current is moving. But it's not drastically faster than any of my other race times. 6 minutes, 7 minutes, maybe about 7.5 minutes faster than some of my other iron times. So the current's moving, but not tremendously. It was a good swim. I came out of the water, went quickly, ran up this. You had to run down the sidewalk, run up a hill into T1. Grabbed my bag and saw it right away because it was pink and I was good to go. Quickly was on my bike. I think I was out of T1 from the time I got out of the water to the time I was moving out of transition in 6 minutes, which I felt really good about. The bike, it's a 116-mile bike instead of 112. Going out of town is pretty rough. The roads are a little bumpy. The temperature was great that day. The sun hadn't come out yet. It's you ride through a pretty industrial area until you kind of get out of Chattanooga downtown, and then you kind of get on some really nice roads. I like the bike course. It's weird to describe this bike course. It is a longer bike course and it is a challenging bike course, but in the same sense, it's a fast bike course, and I don't really know how that is. You ride out about 18 miles, and then you do two 40-mile loops, and then you ride those 18 miles back in, somewhere in those range. Maybe not quite 40-mile loops, maybe not quite 18 miles. I can't remember. But once you get out of Chattanooga and out of this little like town outside of Chattanooga, that you kind of go through a little small town community, it's really nice roads. It is very, very light traffic. Great traffic control, great volunteers. Wasn't a whole lot of drafting going on. It was a little weird at the beginning because it's a time trial start, so there was a lot of people on the course, but it thinned out pretty quick. The front half of the loop, it was challenging. You slowed down. It was just a challenging part of the course. As soon as you turned to kind of start the back half of the loop, it was quick. It was a fast course. You got down an arrow and you could just move. And then there was some, as you kind of loop back around to start it again, there was a couple sections where you're out of the saddle, climbing low, you're in a little ring. You do that twice. The second half of the loop for me was tough. About mile 55 to 70, I really thought I might be in trouble. I just don't know what was going on. I don't know if it was a nutritional issue, if I was just having a little trouble on the hills the second time. It just felt really hard. It felt a lot harder than it should feel at miles 55 to 60 or to 70. So from there, I got some more nutrition in me, which might have been the case. Got another bottle down, and I actually ate a bonk breaker, which I don't eat a whole lot of solids when I race, but I kind of felt like I needed it. So I ate a bonk breaker, got some more fluids in me, and actually finished a bottle of nutrition a little earlier than I planned on it, but I knew that I needed something, and I snapped right out of it, got going, and just about the time I was snapping out of that funk, I got to turn back onto the quicker section of the course. Started moving, realized what my time was, and kind of like, started getting a little pumped up about it, and realized I was going to be off the bike about where I wanted to be, and actually probably a little faster for a 116-mile bike. So I started to kind of just fall into this groove and start moving. I realized that we were about done with the loop. It was the only thing that was weird is when you get to that 110-mile range, you're used to kind of being really almost done, and you realize like I've still got about 15 minutes on the bike or more. And coming back into town, it's that for me that's the weirdest section where I really start getting like nervous. Like, what if I flat? I've done this whole ride, and all these kind of things are going through my head. I'm really cautious about other athletes because it starts to get a little more crowded, and a lot of people are trying to fiddle with the last bit of nutrition or their shoes or whatever, get their watch fixed for the run. So there's a lot of shakiness on the bike, so you just have to be cautious, and that's I think that's the name of the game in those last 10 miles. Just get back safe. Overall, I came in off the bike at 5:38, which I was stoked about that. I did a 5:31 or 5:30 in Boulder 8 weeks earlier, and I was really happy to ride 4 more miles and only be 8 minutes more. And it was a pretty challenging course, but as I said, in a weird way, it was fast. I don't know. Definitely a great bike though. Bike course, and I was happy with my bike. I tried to move through transition. I got a little, I don't know, cocky with my time in Boulder. Just kind of moved really slowly through transition, realizing how much time I had to do what I wanted to do. This time I wasn't going to play around. I got out of transition in 3 minutes. Was quickly out, got everything I needed, and was out the door. I kind of knew right away in my run that I was going to have some legs better than I did in Boulder. In Boulder, I was already like, I'm in trouble quickly in the run. Just knew I was not going to have the run I wanted to, and it wasn't there. And I was just, and that's kind of an eerie feeling when you realize I'm getting ready to start a marathon. Came out of transition. I got to see my girlfriend, which I was stoked about. Heard another Without Limits person yelling my name. I didn't see him, but I just heard somebody yelling, and I kind of recognized the voice. Was really excited. So got out into the run. The first mile is like you're just flying. You're just excited to be off the bike. You're moving. I met up with a guy that I don't really know that well, but I had met. He was with some friends of mine, and we were both trying to kind of do around the same time. And we ran together for about the first 6 miles when I actually had to stop and use the porta potty, which is a good thing. We were clipping off about 8:15s, 8:30s, which was a smart effort for me. I had to stop and use the porta potty. He got away from me, and we didn't end up running together again. I just kind of stayed with what the pace I needed to. I was trying to not go any slower than 9-minute miles, and I was trying not to go any faster than like 7:45s. And I just moved along. It was basically a straight shot out of a highway. You turned onto a greenway trail, and you came back. And then you actually went over a bridge, which was kind of cool. The bridge, nothing. There was only one really hilly section on that first 7 miles or so, and I want to say it was around mile. Actually, so I would say the first 9 miles, and it was around mile 8. And then you turned over the bridge and you started heading out. Now, when you got over the bridge, there was a residential section you went through. It was about a 4-mile section, and it was extremely hilly. And it threw me for a loop, and that's where I had to start walking. And I actually decided right when I saw the first hill, I was like, I'm just going to power walk these hills. I'm not going to go any faster. It's going to use too much energy. And I did. From the very first time I started going up the hill, I power walked all the big hills, and I just tried to tear down them, letting gravity do the force and just almost running ridiculously fast down them. And I did that the whole way there and back, and the whole section was up and down. I came back through about mile 13. I got a high five from my girlfriend, which kind of brought spirits up. I was feeling good. I realized I had done, I think, right under a 2-hour first half, and I just was feeling okay considering where I was at and how long I've been out there. And the course, I knew basically I was getting ready to do the exact same thing. So I kind of knew I was good till about mile 17 when I had to kind of start that one big hill and then go over the bridge and then finish up the last 21 to 26. And I ended up running into a friend of mine that lived here and now lives out in Utah, and she was having a killer race. And we played leapfrog for the last 6 miles. She would pass me going up the hills because she was still running, and I would walk, and then I would come tearing past her going down the hills, and we did that for the last 6 miles. She ended up beating me by about 30 or by about a minute. But it was just cool to see that. I got to see almost everybody that I knew was out on the course at some point, whether it was just yelling or high fives or cheering each other on. It was a great race. It was a good race. I ended up signing up for it again in 2016. Overall, my time was 10:41 on the dot, which is a 7-minute PR, 7-minute plus PR for me on a 4 mile longer course. It's the biggest thing I learned about this race was that not every race is going to be that PR race. I learned that in Boulder. I was a little disappointed that I wasn't able to, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, I wasn't able to make myself hurt as long as I should have been able to make myself hurt. In endurance spurts, you have to find that inner part of us that is willing to make ourselves hurt to do and reach the goals we set. It's hard to explain, and I know I have it inside of me, and I know I can find it, and I know I can turn off the hurt for longer sections than I have in some of my local recent races. And for some reason in this race, I was able to just quiet that pain inside of me and realize that this is what I've trained for. That's what I tell a lot of my athletes as I coach them, is that all those early mornings, all this sacrificed sleep, all the aches and the pains and the long rides and the constantly being hungry because they're training so hard, and the soreness and the burnout and all of it. That's what we're doing, and this is the big show. And so hurting for an hour and a half at the end of a race is just small in comparison to the hours and hours and hours we put into training. So some reason I was able to just hurt a little bit longer than on this race than I have on than I did in Boulder. And I was thrilled to death in my Boulder time, but this was the race that kind of where I was really happy. Overall, I give this course top ratings. The only thing negative about it was Ironman. I'm not going to get into bashing Ironman, but because I sign up for the races, I know what they are. I know what they are as a corporation, and I think they put on a great race. There's things about it that I'm not always excited about but I've drank the Kool-Aid. I love Ironman races. I'm going to do them as long as my body will let me and my pocketbook can afford it. But the post-race stuff, the post-race meals have gone downhill, and so that was a little disappointing. But I will be back in Chattanooga in May for the 70.3. I will be back in September next year for the full Iron. Not really sure. It's not really sure what other races I'm going to throw on the calendar, but this is just, I'm not a big typer. I don't like to write, just not my thing, but I love to talk about the races and the things that I enjoy about them, and just, kind of give you my play-by-play of the race. I'm going to try to get back into making some videos, whether they're just workout pointers, strength training stuff, what I'm eating at the time, just what's going on with Ryan, whether it's mental, spiritual, physical, races, exciting things happening in my life. I've got a YouTube channel now, and I'm going to start posting some videos there, and really excited about a lot of what my athletes are doing. They got some big races coming up with Beach to Battleship, and marathon season's getting ready to start. So that's my quick, not so quick, it's 25-minute long video, but if you don't watch it, you don't watch it. This is, I have fun doing them. So, hopefully people will get a little bit out of this, and hope to see some of you guys in 2016 season. I'm really excited that my 2015 season is over, and look forward to doing some running and playing in the woods on the trails. Have a great evening, happy training, and remember, always train hard, but always train smart.